What's going on, y'all? It's Monty, and I'm not even sure what I'm gonna name this series yet, because I originally wanted to call it "Reading with a Real Nigga," but then I thought about when I want to say when. I hate saying if. When I make it big and when I'm making some money off of this, I'm not gonna be able to really monetize a name like that. So I got to think of a new name for this. Something. If you guys have any ideas, leave them down in the comments because I would love to read through them. But on this series, I'm going to be talking about a lot of different books that I've read because I would like to say I'm a really avid reader. I read pretty decently in my free time. And I've read a decent amount of books, so I want to start talking about them and just giving my real opinion on it. Like, I don't want this to be something boring because a lot of the books, I don't know. You guys you'll get the vibe once I'm talking about it. But the first book I wanted to talk about for this series, 48 Laws of Power. I had to stop for a second for the thumbnail. I gotta have my homeboy make the thumbnail because I don't know how to do them yet. Or maybe 48 Laws of Power. All right. But this book got really popular a while ago. I saw, for some reason, this one TikTok stood out to me. It was like this girl, and she was like,
I went over to this guy's house, and he has the 48 Laws of Power sitting on his nightstand. Oh my god.
And I'm just thinking in my head, after I read the book, I thought in my head, I was like, baby, that's probably the only book he's read, and he probably forgot every single thing that's in that book. Like, I read this book, I think, last year, and I forgot a decent amount of it, even though I highlight, when I read books, I highlight and I write things down, and I still be forgetting some of the stuff. I had to look back, and then I, got my memory jogging again. Men think they're going to read this book and become Thanos, and that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for you, brother. You're not going to become some crazy mogul, whatever. It's going to give you some good tools that will help you in day-to-day life. But when it comes to it's going to give you this crazy leg up over everyone, it's not going to happen. It's really not going to happen. It's a regular book. It's a regular book, dog. But there's a lot of good knowledge in it. So I took down a couple of the laws that I wanted to go over, and we're going to get into these. The first two is kind of just about shutting the fuck up, but a lot of people seem not to know how to do that. So law 3, which I wanted to talk about first, is conceal your intentions. And let me start with a disclaimer for a lot of the people. There's always going to be a happy medium. You don't want to do too much and you don't want to do too little. You always got to find that lane in between in which you can find a perfect balance between everything. So you don't want to go too far into these. And there's a couple laws that I've gone too far into, I've made them a part of my daily habit, and that's also what I want to talk about too. When you read this, you want to start making these things part of your daily habit. You want to start thinking about them, even law by law, and just think, when you read a law, think about it for that day, or read 3 laws a day, 5 laws a day, something like that. And take that with you throughout the day and practice that. That's how it's really going to become ingrained in you, which is why I feel as if sometimes I've forgotten things because they've just become second habit. You know what I mean? But like I said, find that happy medium. The first 2 laws about just shutting the fuck up. Law number 3, conceal your intentions. This always makes me think of the people, they'll post a story and it'll be like, oh, I'm moving in silence now. They're like, oh, I'm moving in silence now. Oh, I'm deleting Instagram. I'm deleting Snapchat. I'm sick of these people. Don't hit me up. It's like we don't care. We don't care. But that's not what he meant in the law. So I'm gonna read what he actually wrote for the law. And it says, keep people off balance and in the dark by never revealing the purpose behind your actions. If they have no clue what you are up to, they cannot prepare a defense. Guide them far enough down the wrong path, envelop them in enough smoke, and by the time they realize your intentions, it will be too late. So basically, this is coming down to not showing all your cards, not showing your full hand, not letting everybody know what you're going to be doing next. Keep a lot of these goals and aspirations you may have to yourself, because when you start to tell people what you're doing and where you're planning or where you're heading, people will try to take advantage of you. People will honestly try to take advantage of the fact that now they know where your mind's at and now they know where you're headed, and they're going to try to get a leg up on you. They're going to figure out any way they can. And it's really unfortunate, but that's the way life goes. So learn how to keep a lot of these things to yourself and not overly express that kind of bleeds into the next thing. I told you these are kind of tied together, so it's really easy to speak on the next one. And this is honestly one of the laws that I've gone too far into. This one is always say less than necessary. When you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear and the less in control. Even if you are saying something banal, it will seem original if you make it vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. So this is basically just about, again, shutting the fuck up. The less you say to people, the more intrigue they'll have with you. And that's something I wouldn't say it was something that I did beforehand, but it coupled with the fact that I started to realize that people don't really, there's a lot of things that you say that people don't really care about. So I started saying less because I realized that people don't necessarily care about a lot of the intricacies of what I say. You know, people don't really care about the nitty gritty. There's some people who do, don't get me wrong, but the majority of people that you run into aren't going to really care about the depth of what you're saying. All you really need to say is, you know, like, oh, it's whatever. They ask you how your day was. Oh, it's good. They don't really care. Oh, my boss did this. Oh, yada, yada, yada. They don't care about that stuff. So why say more than you need to? You're just wasting your breath at that point. But I guess you could say the paradox of it is that people will become more interested in what you have to say when you're saying less. And even when they become more interested in what you have to say, continuing to give them not as much as you need to, not like less than necessary, will make them even more interested. So it's a way to pique people's interest in you, even if you're really just a regular motherfucker, because I'm a regular motherfucker. It's a great way to have people be a lot more intrigued with you. But recently, like I said, I've gone off the deep end a little bit because now I don't say much at all. So like, it's just like, damn, he's not even, you know, he's kind of just boring now, you know? So it's always about finding that balance. You need to say less than necessary, but you need to say enough to keep people intrigued. You know, it's something you really got to work with. You really have to understand where your sweet spots are and understand where to go from there. I wrote down the laws that I was putting in. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Now, this is one that really hit me. This really hit me deep because it's mostly with my closest homeboys. Because wow, I'm about to get really raw on this right now. I'm about to get really raw on this. So I used to be that homeboy, right, who was knocking down anything. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm knocking down whatever I can get my hands on, bro. And my closest homeboys were the ones who knew about this. You know, they knew how I was getting down, how I was moving. And now I've really, because obviously I was doing that because I didn't really have any confidence in myself, you know, so I wanted to get out there. I wanted to feel validated by something. So whatever I could get my hands on, I felt happy with. And now I've moved past that, you know, because I've done the necessary work I needed to do on myself and who I was, and understood why I was doing those types of things. And now I've moved past that, and saying that like to my closest homeboys, they just laugh. Like they just laugh because I've built up the reputation of being the person who I was. And now that's all they can see. Even when they see me post this stuff about, you know, the walk with me's, when they see this, they're like, bro, like, why are you putting on the front? We know the real you. And it's like, bro, it's not me anymore. But you can see how much your reputation can build negatively. So reputation matters so much. You have to have a good reputation. And even when it comes down to content, a lot of people, they tell me, they're like, oh, start doing this, like hop on the trends, like do the trends that people are doing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be known as someone just doing the trends. Y'all know that guy on TikTok, his song, I forget, I don't know if he got his song copyrighted, so I don't want to like sing it, but he got a song, and every time he posts it, he just doing like this dance where he's on his hands and knees and he's like spinning his head, and it's just like, bro, like that's really how you want people to know you? Like, are you serious? I don't want people to know me for some stupid dance where I'm practically degrading myself, or even hopping on some random trend that people are doing just because it's getting views. You know, I'm perfectly content with posting the stuff that I want to post and not getting views than I would be if I was posting what everyone else is posting and getting a ton of views. You know, I want to post what I want to post. Really monitor your reputation and really understand, what do you want to be known for? even for my content creators, or even for people in regular, well, actually for my content creators first, if you want to be known for your art, if you want to be known for music, if you want to be known for whatever, make sure that's what you're known for. People are so hungry to get that little spotlight that they'll do anything for it. But at the end of the day, it's going to bite you. It's going to bite you so hard. There's so many content creators who got famous off of something that they didn't even like. And then when they try to switch up and do something else, no one's really looking out for them. It's like Lil Goody on TikTok. You know, he's realizing it too. He was like, bro, like I'm not a comedian. I never wanted to blow up off of funny stuff, but the funny stuff was getting me money. The funny stuff was bringing it in. But what I really want to do is music. And now he's really trying to promote his music, but the fan base that he built with all the funny stuff, they not really gravitating to his music because it wasn't what they wanted to hear from him. It's not what they wanted to hear from him. It wasn't what he was given to them. So now it's a different dynamic now, because it makes it a lot difficult for him to get his music out there, which is what he really wants to. So he has to do some of the funny stuff to keep people engaged. And then when it comes to regular people, focus on the reputation you have in your social circle. Like what are the people closest to you see you as? Because that's going to be important. The reputation that you build up is going to be, you can't go back from certain reputations that you build. You'll never be able to. You build a good reputation, you got it. If you can build a good reputation, there's some leeway for you to do some bad things and people be like, nah, he's still a good person. But if you build up a bad reputation, trying to flip it for the good, people will think you're just trying to get over on them. You know, people are really just going to try to think you're getting over on them. So you have to work on building a good reputation and really honestly, just be a good person. It's not really that difficult. Next, we're going over to Law 9, and it's win through your actions, never through argument. Any momentary triumph you think you have gained through an argument is really a Pyrrhic victory. The resentment and ill will you stir up is stronger and lasts longer than any momentary change of opinion. It is much more powerful to get others to agree with you through your actions without saying a word. Demonstrate, do not explicate. You're never going to really change anybody's mind. Never. Our arguments and going back and forth is never going to work out for you. Never. I mean, as much as you think, oh, I won that argument. Yeah, even with like people who have significant others, people like, oh, I won that argument. No, you just stirred up resentment in that person, and now they don't feel. It's resentment. You stir up resentment, and now they feel as if, oh, they got me. You know, I need to get the next one. You know what I mean? It's gonna make them even more hungry for another argument. So why even worry about it? Why even go through that process? Because it won't even work out for you. It's a lose-lose. You win the battle, lose the war, type of thing like that. It's not even worth it to do that, which is why it's really important to practice winning through your actions. Simple as that. And what winning through your actions means is, like, if you're having an argument with somebody, you know, let's say they did something that you didn't like, winning through actions would be, maybe you do that to them. And when they come at you, and they come at you sideways, if it's something wrong, you just say to them, this is exactly what you did to me. This is how that made me feel. And now you can see the way that your actions had an impact on me. Something like that. I mean, it's not necessarily being petty if you're doing it on the basis of saying, okay, I want them to really see how what they did. Oh. What's going on? My mic cut out. Hello? I don't know why my mic's cutting out. Okay. I lost my place. I don't know exactly where I was, but now we're back to it. I guess that was weird. Damn, that really fucked me up. Where was I? Yeah, I was on winning through your actions. I don't think there's really much else I can really say. That really fucked me up. My fault. Yeah, my fault, y'all. Law 10. Yeah, Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. You can die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are as infectious as diseases. You may feel you are helping the drowning man, but you are only precipitating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune on themselves. They will also draw it onto you. Associate with the happy and fortunate instead. Now I'm keeping an extra eye on whether or not this is recording. But avoid the unhappy. You know, it's all about the people you surround yourself with. I'm assuming you've heard this before. I hate to sound like one of those financial moguls, be like, surround yourself with millionaires and you'll be the next one. But that's how it works, even with people who are happy, depressed, things like that. If you surround yourself around a lot of happy people, a lot of go-getters, a lot of people who are motivated, ambitious, then you'll be motivated and ambitious. But if you're surrounding yourself with people who are depressed, unmotivated, aren't really doing what they need to be doing, it's easy to fall in line with that. So you have to really pick and choose who you want to surround yourself with and where you really want to take your life. Like, do you really want to hang around these people who aren't doing much for themselves, who aren't go-getters, who aren't trying to elevate their lives in some way? Or do you want to be associated with people who are really trying to get up and go get it? Because like I said, it's infectious. It's so infectious. It's really easy to fall into that groupthink. I guess you could say groupthink. I don't think I would really say groupthink in that situation, but it's really easy to fall into that mindset of the people around you. If you're spending so much time around your friends, they're gonna start to rub off on you. You know, it's the group effect. That's what's going to happen. No matter what group you're a part of, the group is going to have some sort of effect on you and change the way you think or change the way you behave in some way. You always want to surround yourself with people who are going to elevate you and people who are not going to hold you back. So really think about that. Think about the people you're around currently and whether or not they're really elevating you or holding you back. Because that's gonna be when it's come down to at the end of the day. You need people who are going to push you and keep pushing you. That's the only answer there is. Now we going over to Law 25. Law 25, recreate yourself. This was kind of what I was talking about when it comes to reputation, because I've been trying to recreate myself, but niggas ain't letting me do that. But realize that everyone's perceptions of you can be changed. Even your perception of yourself can be changed. Everything is malleable. Everything is fluid. Everything can be manipulated in some way. Feel free to completely divert from the path that you've been on and become someone else. You know, you don't have to go down this path that you've set for yourself. You don't have to go down that road or be that type of person. You can switch it up. You can change everything around. If you want to, if you don't think you're doing down the right path, you have all the power to change that. You can do that at any moment. You can be a different person. Start doing different things. Recreate yourself. This life is exactly what you make of it. You can build and move pieces like a Lego set. Like nothing is set in stone. Absolutely nothing is set in stone. All you have to do is make the choice. Make the choice. If you make the choice, everything else will fall into play for you. And that's really all that matters. Be able to recreate yourself if you don't like where you're headed, if you don't like where your mind's at. And you can recreate the thoughts in your mind as well. It's going to take time. You know, it's not an easy process, but it's something that we all can do. And that's really all I had to say about that. Really straightforward kind of law. And then we got Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. If you make a show of going against the times, flaunting your unconventional ideas and unorthodox ways, people will think that you only want attention and that you look down upon them. They will find a way to punish you for making them feel inferior. It is far safer to blend in and nurture the common touch. Share your originality with only tolerant friends and those who are sure to appreciate your uniqueness. This makes me think about the niggas who really try to be different, you know, who try to just be cool and out of the way, and you're just like, bro, stop. Like what are you doing? You know what I mean? But on a serious note, it comes down to, don't think about this law until you're really comfortable with being yourself. If you're uncomfortable with being who you are in all situations, don't even think about what I just said about all that right there, because it's going to require you to be a chameleon. It's going to really require you to be a chameleon in group settings. You know, I can only speak from my personal opinion, because I've taken myself, I don't even know how to phrase this. I mean, I think the best way to say it is just be a chameleon. That's the best way to do it. You know, be able to shift, be able to know what type of personality you need to have in different settings. You know, when you're around your parents, you're a different person. When you're around your friends, you're a different person. Be able to be a chameleon in all these events and all these places with all these different scenarios. And don't make it so you stick out too much, because the more you stick out in your given social setting, the more envy that's going to lie a little below you, and that's going to be the most among your friends and family. The people who are closest to you will be the most envious of you, because you're a part of their social circle. You're a part of their reference group. So you don't want to stand out too much over the people that you're around, if you're someone who likes to dress flashy on your own. Don't dress flashy around your friends who dress bummy all the time, because they're not going to feel as if they're going to be like, oh, why does he want to dress so nice? You know what I mean? Like, if you have more money than some of your friends, don't flaunt the fact that you have more money. Just act as if you're on their level. Talk about, oh, I can't keep up with my bills, yada, yada, yada. And you don't necessarily have to lie. Maybe this is true to you, but you never want to be too over. You don't want to stand out too much. You don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. Whatever the norm is of the group that you're a part of, play the role of that norm. Even if you're above average, even if you're below average, play just at the norm. Because even in the negative aspect, even if you're like, woe is me, I'm so poor, woe is me, I don't have all the nice things that you guys have, people are gonna look at you like, bro, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't play that role. Don't hover below or above anybody, because that's gonna make you stick out even more. And you're not going to get envied when you're at this point, but people aren't going to necessarily pity you. They won't really care. They're doing better than you. They're going to be happy. They're going to try to take more advantage of you now that they know that they're above you. They feel as if they're superior to you. So don't even give them that leeway. And obviously you can express this to close friends, trusted friends, but don't express this to everybody. It's like what I was saying in the other laws. Conceal your intentions. Always say less than necessary. They all tie back together. It all ties in with each other. So work towards understanding that. Don't stand out too much. Be a chameleon. We got 2 laws left. I already did law 38. We got law 40. Despise the free lunch. I put this in here as a joke. I put it in here as a joke because I was going to do a whole bit where I read like despise the free lunch and just throw it out. But this is about, what is offered for free is dangerous. It usually involves either a trick or a hidden obligation. What has worth is worth paying for. That's a portion that I want to be in. What has worth is worth paying for. And this can be taken very literally, obviously. But things that come a bit too easy to you, be a little wary. Be a little wary. Don't let it occupy a lot of your mind space, but also understand that as fast as it came into you is as fast as it can leave your life. Don't be too excited about the things that come to you so easily, because you're going to need to be able to understand now how to retain that long term, especially if it's something you want to keep long term. It's like those people who make a lot of money and then they blow right through it. They didn't understand how to retain it. They didn't understand how to build true wealth off of it. So now they don't even understand anything. They don't know what they're doing. So always be wary of the things that come to you easily. Always be wary of the things that people give to you for free, because people may offer you a helping hand, but really they want something in return later on, and be like, oh, remember I did this for you? Now I need something from you. So always be wary of that. And on top of that, from a literal sense, a lot of people like to be budget shoppers, and especially in this economy, you kind of have to be a budget shopper. But understand that the things that you buy, the knockoff versions of things, the discount version, understand those are always lower quality than the higher priced things. Well, okay, maybe not always, but more often than not, those are always lower quality. They're selling them for a less of a price because you're getting less than what you would be getting if you were paying top dollar. Understand that. So don't be upset when the lower quality thing breaks on you, because that's what it's supposed to do. They're paying you a lower price because it's going to break faster, which means you're going to have to buy another one, which means that you're going to be spending what you would have spent on the version that may have lasted you longer anyways. So just some food for thought. And then the last law that I had was law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. What happens first always appears better and more original than what comes after. If you succeed a great man or have a famous parent, you will have to accomplish double their achievements to outshine them. Do not get lost in their shadows or stuck in the past, not of your own thinking. Establish your own name and identity by changing course. Slay the overbearing father, disparage his legacy, and gain power by shining in your own way. This makes me think about a lot of the guys who, because I'm a musician, this is really what I think about. A lot of the guys who say like, oh, my music sounds like J. Cole, or like, I'm the next J. Cole, I'm the next Kendrick Lamar. No. The whole wave of people who were just sounding like XXXTentacion, like, no, why are you guys doing that? Why are you guys trying to sound like someone else? Sound like yourself. I tell people this all the time because there's a lot of guys who come into my DMs, you know, they're asking about, oh, like, can you listen to my music, yada yada yada, and I'll listen. I'm like, dude, you don't sound like, this isn't something I've never heard before. You sound like everyone else. Why do you want to do that? Like, having music that sounds like someone else's music is only going to draw people to that person, not you. They're not drawn to your music. They're drawn to that person's music, which is what your music sounds like. They don't really enjoy you. They enjoy who you sound like. Why are you making that your thing? Why are you trying to? And it just comes down to not trying to be like other people. Don't try to be someone else. Don't be someone that you aren't. Be you. Why has it become so difficult for everyone just to be themselves? It's so easy just to be yourself. It's really not difficult to be yourself, but people aren't comfortable with that. People feel like they need to be someone else. People feel like they need to be, you know, the latest fashion design, whatever. People feel like they need to be someone else. You don't have to be anyone else. Be you. Be you. It's so, because it's one thing that I think about, you know, like the sons of athletes. A lot of their fathers, I mean, I don't know for sure, but a lot of their fathers normally they may push the athletics on them. You know, like, you have to be this. You have to be a good football player. You know, like, I was a good football player. You have to be one. And 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna outshine your father. It's like Deion Sanders' son, Shador and Shiloh. They're not going to be better than Deion Sanders. They're not, and that could lead them to feeling inadequate. Be like, oh, my father was this great man and I'm his son, but now I'm not what my father was. And now that's hurting on them. It's taking on their soul. It's taking on how they feel about themselves. You know, their ego may become deflated because they aren't their own person. They're following in someone else's footsteps. Make your own path. Become your own person. That was what I wanted to say about that. So 48 Laws of Power. Highly recommend the book. If anybody wants to check it out. Maybe I'll try to get some money off this on TikTok and put like the affiliate thing on it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I gotta make money somehow, man. Come on. I also don't know how I'm gonna upload this to my computer because this is a 30-minute video. And I'm also gonna have to edit this, so I'm gonna have to watch this back over. I don't even want to think about it. All right, fellas. Well, and women, but there's mostly just guys who watch my stuff anyways. But I appreciate y'all watching if you watched all the way through, and I will talk to y'all next time. This is our all right, I'm out of here.